Rachel was working as a dishwasher at a wedding, and she brought her daughter along to accompany her that day. The girl innocently picked up the bride's bouquet to give it to her mother. However, upon seeing the groom, Rachel was shocked to recognize him as someone from her past. Hello, my friends. I am Linda, and this is Linda's Love Stories. I hope you enjoy this story. Rachel and Hugo met in a truly peculiar way, one of those encounters that destiny seems to have meticulously plotted. It was a quiet morning, with the timid rays of the sun beginning to seep through the city streets. As young Rachel pedaled to work, riding her pink bicycle, she radiated contagious joy, which stood out in the grey and pale scenery of the urban landscape. With her colourful helmet adorning her head and her golden hair dancing in the wind, Rachel was completely immersed in her route, attentive to the traffic movement around her. Little did she know that the unexpected was about to happen. As she continued on her way, a van parked nearby suddenly had its door opened, and Rachel didn't have time to swerve. With her heart racing, she tried to brake the bike abruptly, but she was so close to the vehicle that the impact was inevitable. Her heart raced amidst the shock. Rachel lost her balance and fell to the ground, although it seemed she hadn't suffered serious injuries, just a few scratches on her elbow. At that moment, Hugo emerged from the van with a scared and concerned look. The young man realized he was responsible for the whole incident and promptly acted to help Rachel. With an expression of distress on his face, Hugo approached her, apologizing incessantly for the situation. With care and gentleness, he helped her up from the ground while picking up her belongings that had scattered on the street. Hugo's hand trembled slightly due to nervousness, but his effort to remedy the situation was notable. "I'm sorry, really sorry," he said, his tone laden with sincerity. "I didn't mean to cause any harm. Are you okay? Did you get hurt badly?" "I'm okay, don't worry," she replied, feeling reassured by Hugo's care. "Just a few scratches." Unlike Rachel, her bicycle had suffered significant damage. The front wheel was deformed, resembling the shape of a number 8, and the basket that used to carry her things was completely broken. The bike was clearly in a bad condition and unusable after the impact. Hugo, aware of his recklessness in opening the vehicle door without looking first, took full responsibility for the damage caused to Rachel's bicycle. With a generous heart, he volunteered to fully cover the cost of repairing the bicycle. Carefully, he placed it in the back of the van he used for deliveries. Now, Rachel was temporarily without her means of transportation. Sensing the situation, Hugo offered to drive her to work that day, ensuring she wouldn't be stranded. During the ride to work, pleasant conversations flowed naturally between them, and Rachel could perceive empathy and sweetness in Hugo's personality. Every gesture and word of his showed his intention to do whatever he could to make things better. As they said goodbye that day, Hugo took Rachel's phone number. He promised to contact her as soon as her bicycle was completely fixed. And so, that unusual encounter between Rachel and Hugo turned into a beautiful love story, like one of those plots that seem to have been written by destiny. In their simplicity, they discovered the beauty of each moment together. Long bike rides became a charming routine for the couple. They lived the intensity of true love. With limited resources, Rachel and Hugo decided to plan a small yet meaningful celebration to mark their marriage. Unfortunately, Hugo no longer had a family present in his life. His parents had passed away long ago, and his brother had drifted away from the family. Rachel had the blessing of a loving and present family. And now, on such a special day, everyone gathered in Rachel's parents' garden to share this moment of joy and unity. With simplicity and care, the garden was prepared to welcome the guests. Rachel and Hugo were dressed in modest attire, reflecting the beauty of the love they shared. After a few years, Rachel and Hugo's deep love materialized in Jade, the long-awaited daughter of the couple. With her bright eyes and charming smile, Jade brought a new dimension of joy to her parents' lives. Hugo continued his work as a deliveryman, a tough and tiring journey, but his heart was always full of gratitude when he returned home. After all, being with Rachel and Jade was the most valuable reward he could have. Every time he crossed the front door, the house filled with laughter and affectionate hugs, creating an atmosphere of love and warmth. That morning, everything seemed to follow its usual routine. After bidding a fond farewell to his wife and daughter, he got into his van, the same vehicle that had starred in the unusual encounter that changed his life forever. The workday promised to be intense, with a long list of deliveries on his route. Hugo knew he had a lot to do. On this day, which should have been like any other, destiny had another twist in store for that family. While Hugo was going about his delivery routine, the van that had been with him for so long would once again be the protagonist of a radical change in their lives. Around lunchtime, Rachel received a phone call that shook her world. On the other end of the line, a trembling voice informed her that her beloved husband, Hugo, had been involved in a car accident and was being treated at the hospital. Without a second thought, Rachel rushed to the hospital, hoping to find Hugo well and ease her fears. Upon arrival, unfortunately, the news was not what she expected. The doctor sorrowfully informed her that Hugo had not survived the serious injuries and had passed away. Rachel's world collapsed. The pain of losing her partner, her love, her confidant, was overwhelming. Rachel held little Jade tightly in her arms. She realized that Jade was still too young to understand the magnitude of the loss they had faced. Jade's presence became the pillar that sustained Rachel's life after Hugo's departure. The girl became the source of strength and the reason to move forward. Years passed, and gradually, the pain of loss gave way to longing. The support of her family was crucial for Rachel to move on. Jade's grandparents played an important role in the girl's life, providing her with a warm and loving environment while Rachel worked. Rachel, as a dishwasher in a restaurant, worked hard to ensure the livelihood of her small family. The weekend arrived, and the restaurant where Rachel worked was preparing to host an important wedding. For her, this meant an opportunity to receive extra gratification for the work done, which would help with household expenses and provide some comfort for Jade. On that special morning, Rachel had no one to leave Jade with, so she decided to take her along to the restaurant. Before leaving home, she explained carefully to her daughter that she should behave and not wander into the hall where the party would be taking place. Jade, a curious and lively girl, followed her mother's instructions, but drawn by the novelty of the place, she couldn't resist peeking through the slightly open door. Through the small gap, her eyes were delighted by a scene so different from the reality she was used to. She watched in awe at the elegance of the guests, the tables decorated with flowers and candles, the sparkle of the dresses and formal attire. As Jade continued to observe the wedding, her eyes shimmered with the beauty of the celebration. At one point, she noticed the bride delicately placing her beautiful bouquet on one of the tables. With her innocence and love for her mother, the girl had an idea that filled her heart with joy. She thought that Bouquet would be the perfect gift for her mother. Even though she was so young, Jade recognized the effort Rachel put in daily to support them, and had never seen her receive flowers before. Jade took the bouquet in her hands and carefully approached her mother, who tirelessly washed the wedding dishes. With a shy smile, Jade handed the bouquet to Rachel. "For you, Mommy," Jade said, her voice soft and her eyes shining with emotion. Rachel was truly touched by Jade's loving gesture of giving her the bouquet of flowers. "Thank you, my dear," Rachel said, gently caressing Jade's face. "You are the sweetest and most loving daughter a mother could have. This bouquet is really beautiful, but it's important for the bride. Let's return it so she can continue celebrating her special day." As Rachel held the bouquet in her hands to return it to the bride, she approached the party hall with careful steps. However, upon entering the festive atmosphere, she came face to face with the groom, and her heart almost stopped in surprise. Rachel paled at the sight of the man before her, unable to believe what her eyes were witnessing. "Hugo, is that you?" she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. The groom stared at her for a moment, surprised by Rachel's reaction. His gaze met hers, and for a moment he seemed confused. Then, a tender and familiar smile lit up his face. "Do you know my twin brother, Hugo?" the groom asked, smiling. The groom's words echoed in Rachel's ears, and she was momentarily stunned. Her heart raced and a mix of emotions flooded her. Then, everything made sense. The man before her, the groom, was actually Hugo's twin brother. The memories of the conversation she had with Hugo about his long-lost brother came flooding back. Hugo used to talk about the brother who had abandoned the family many years ago. Rachel took a deep breath, trying to contain the flood of emotions that overwhelmed her upon seeing her beloved Hugo's brother before her. The unexpected physical resemblance between them was like reliving the past, bringing back memories of the history she and Hugo shared. It wasn't the right time to bring up the painful news of her twin brother's passing. "Yes, Hugo is my husband and Jade is our daughter," Rachel said, smiling. Rachel handed a piece of paper with her phone number to Hugo's brother, allowing him to get in touch if he wished. After saying goodbye, Rachel let Hugo's brother return to the celebration while she went her own way. As she walked away, Rachel glanced back for a moment, seeing him rejoin the party with a smile on his face. She felt grateful to have found that part of Hugo's past. Days after the unexpected encounter at the wedding, Gabriel, Hugo's twin brother, decided to contact Rachel. He felt a deep need to learn more about his brother's life and understand everything that had happened while they were apart. With gentleness, Rachel told Gabriel about the accident Hugo had suffered. On the other end of the line, Gabriel listened attentively to every word from Rachel, crying under the weight he felt. He realized how much he had missed out on by distancing himself from the family and his brother, and how that separation deprived him of knowing such an important part of his own history. From that moment on, Gabriel made the decision to actively be part of Jade's life, his beloved niece, who carried such a precious part of his brother, Hugo, within her. He wished to fill the void left by his brother's absence, becoming a present father figure in the girl's life. Rachel, in turn, felt embraced by Gabriel and his wife, who were now like an extension of the family. They formed a strong bond of friendship that resembled that of siblings, sharing stories, laughter, and tears. Gabriel would tell Rachel about the childhood mischief and adventures he and Hugo had together. Hearing those stories made Rachel feel like she knew her beloved husband even more, filling her heart with both joy and longing. This story reminds us that life is ephemeral and unpredictable, and we must cherish every moment with those we love. It's important not to let disagreements or the past separate us from the people who are important to us. If you enjoyed, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment with a number from 1 to 5 to let us know how much you liked the story. Also, watch the video that is currently on your screen. See you soon.